Hi guys, I'm Kendall.
And I'm Glenn, and we're doing a big trip around Australia in our 1982 Volkswagen T3. Today we're going to talk to you about how we make money on the road now that we're 6 months in.
We will kick things off with how we actually saved to go onto this trip, and then we'll touch on how we make money now that we're actually on the road, and then we will end it with how we budget to make that money last.
So first of all, and it's by far the most important one, is actually saving before the trip. So we planned this trip in like 12 to 18 months, and in that time we were very, very frugal. We were working really, really hard, never eating out. We didn't really drink at all, particularly by the end of it, and we were just trying to save as much as we possibly could just to give us that big head start on it, because the whole point was that we want this to be a traveling trip. A lot of people, like, you can work a lot, but we just wanted it to be breaking free of that kind of thing. So we just wanted to save as much as physically possible.
I think one thing that really helped was that we sort of started pretending that we were living on the road before we were living on the road.
Yeah.
So the way that we travel now is very frugally. We try to eat, like Glenn said, we don't eat out, we don't do fancy accommodations or anything. So that's how we treated our life before we actually moved into the van, so that it was a pretty seamless transition. And I think that that helped a lot, because it wasn't just straight cut to living, like working hard and spending a lot of money, and then all of a sudden we're in a van and things are so different. So I think if you can have that little transition, that will help a lot, and you'll have more money.
Yeah,
in the bank.
The biggest thing, having more money. So that way you don't need to constantly stress and worry about how you're going to make your next bit of money while on the road. Obviously it definitely helps, and we'll get into that in a bit, but first and foremost, the more money you can have just sitting there for your holiday fund, the better you're going to be long term, and the more relaxed you can be about it, which has helped with us a lot. Particularly, we've had a couple of massive mechanical expenses within the first few months. $12,000 we had to spend on vans, which was not planned for. Now, if we hadn't saved heaps of money and put it all aside, then we'd be scrambling how we were going to get jobs to be able to pay off that growing bill when we were completely snookered at the time. So thanks to that, it can just take care of any unexpected expenses, but also just a lot of peace of mind in the process as well.
So now we will touch on the most asked question that we get, is how we currently make money now that we are traveling all around Australia. Before living on the road, we were both working full-time jobs in Sydney. I was a social media strategist at a marketing agency, so that was a very seamless transition. I could work anywhere on my laptop and still do my job. So I currently do a little bit of freelance work here and there. Obviously things have changed a bit with coronavirus. A lot of our jobs have fallen off a little bit, but that's why you save a lot. But we also do a lot of photography and videography for brands, which has been, I think, the most exciting part.
Yeah, that's been fun. That's been pretty fun.
Yeah, it's been very fun, very creative, and it's really what we actually genuinely love to do. So we've been doing a bit of that here and there, which helps pay for some.
Yeah, it's little bits. It's little bits and pieces, but by no means are we living off it. Again, it's more about all the money that we saved beforehand, and this stuff's really enjoyable for us, and it's a bit of extra spending money that we may have. As Kendall said, being full-time living in Sydney, I was a strength and conditioning coach. So before we went on this trip, I basically spent 12 months with a good friend of mine and now business partner creating a platform that we can train and coach remotely. So we've got clients that I can now coach and check in with every single day. We go through an online app that we can then use, and through video calls and stuff like that, it means we're able to still train them here and there as well. So for me, that's another little bit of extra money along the way. But again, a lot of this stuff is more things that we really enjoy to do, and we're just sort of getting bits and pieces along the way, but none of this is like built into relying upon it. Particularly as we've seen at the moment with the coronavirus, so much stuff dropped off, everything was all over the place. If we'd relied at all on our income that we were currently making on the road, this whole trip would have gone back on itself. So yes, we are able to make money on the road, but by no means is it the thing that just keeps getting normal income like a lot of other people may have as well.
So that's how we do it, but we know that there are also many different ways that you can still make money on the road.
One of the popular ones, it seems, is either like going to a new place, and then trying to pick up casual work. So whether it's cafe, bar work, anything at all. I mean, there are so many creative ways that people can do, particularly if you have a special skill set. So some people might work for a month, really check out that area, work for a couple of months, whatever it may be, and then go and travel further, and then sort of hopscotch your way all the way around. Similar sort of thing as well is people that sort of have a home base, and then they'll sort of work for a few months at a time and then go and check out a new part of a country or whatever it may be, which both seem really successful. And it's sort of like, it's almost like if we didn't spend so long to save and we just kept doing middle length trips. So it's either if you want it now, or for us, we just thought we wanted to drag out the saving process, which is obviously a bit harder and more frustrating as you're itching to get on the road, but then it means you can afford to go for a longer period of time without needing to check back in as well.
But if there is any part of your current job or your current skill sets that can be transitioned digitally, definitely start that, or at least look into it, so that by the time you do end up on the road, it is somewhat of a seamless transition, and you're not trying to scramble to find a job, but you are somewhat set up with the skill sets that you already have.
Definitely. I mean, and even still, if it's almost close. So for like me, my job before being very hands-on and very face-to-face, it was 12 months in the making for us to put together a whole thing that would allow me to now work remotely. So there are many ways to do it, but none of these things happen quickly. And if you see people that are succeeding with it, 1 in a million would actually have just pulled it out of their butt, really. The rest of the time, it's just heaps of planning and hard work. So I know you want to do it now, but at the same time, I think it's more about, same as saving or planning to then earn money on the road, it takes a really, really long time.
So the flip side to how you make money on the road is how you actually make that money last. So saving on your day-to-day expenses, we think, is incredibly important when you're traveling this much.
Definitely. So there's a few things that are very much in your control that you can make your money last a whole lot longer, and that's basically food and accommodation. They're the two biggest expenses other than fuel, but you don't really have a whole lot of say with fuel. If you need fuel, you'll fill up. You're in a town, whatever the cost is, that's what you got to deal with. However, food, if you're cooking every single meal yourself, for us, we try and budget $10 per person per day, and anytime we beat that, it's a nice little win, knowing that sometimes, yeah, we may end up spending a little bit over that depending on the circumstances. And then secondly, with accommodation, we'll try and free camp as much as physically possible. It's only if we're ever in a tight situation that we have to pay for accommodation, or if we're staying at national parks, which is next to nothing in Australia, and also we like to pay because they're the ones that are looking after the national parks that we're there to visit. So we think that's a worthy sort of cost for accommodation. But if you can control your food and free camp as much as possible, that money that you've saved or that you are earning, even if it's little bits and pieces along the way like we're doing, it just goes so much further.
And one thing that helps us find those free camps is an app called Campermate, and there's also, I believe, Wiki Camps.
Yep.
Those are both apps that are wonderful. I'm not sure how they are in other countries, but at least in Australia, they're very helpful. Just open it up, look around in the area, and you can see which places are either low cost, like $5 to $10, or completely free. And that is really helpful to plan your trip out so that you're not last minute, oh no, we have to spend $30 just to spend the night here. So definitely download those before your trip. That was very helpful for us. Yeah,
Campermate is free. Wiki Camps costs like $7 or something, but we like to have both because you can sort of, some have some spots and some have other spots, and there's a lot of crossover, but often there are a couple little random ones that you might find there as well. Also, when looking for any fresh water, or if you're like us and you don't have a shower on board, we've got a little portable one, but if we can find a shower that's a public shower, we can filter things like that through the app as well. So they're really handy in making sure you're saving money through your accommodation too.
So at the end of the day, we think that the most important thing you can do is completely before you even start your trip. So save as much as you possibly can, work hard before you leave, and be incredibly frugal. Act as if you're already on the road.
And then the second main one being, just be sort of like, start thinking outside the box with whatever career you're in at the moment. plan ahead for how you may be able to make that into something you can work remotely, and if not, maybe find alternate ways. There are plenty of different ways for either passive income or ways to do things remotely, particularly if you have a specific skill set. Then you've got so many different resources that you can also then work along the way. There's plenty of options as you go around whatever country you're in. There are plenty of places, whether you're working just for a roof over your head and food in your belly, or you're working for money for a month or so and continue on from there. But the biggest thing, hands down, is just working your butt off and saving as much as you can before, so you can be a whole lot more free while living on the road.
So we really hope that this helped provide a little bit of insight into how we make money on the road. If you have any questions at all, we're more than happy to answer them. Just pop them below and we'll get back to you right away.
Thanks for watching.